Yo, 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 what's going on out there? Y'all know who it is. It's your boy Coach Rize, aka the Smoothie King. Right back at you. What another one. You see who I got here today? I call him the mastermind behind the sport. He's an advocate of the sport. He's a father of a elite up-and-coming future world champion, Mr. Hackett in the building. What's going on, Coach?
Man, pleased to be here with you. You know what's going on? Work time.
Man,
Work time.
Man. I talked to your son earlier, and he looks great.
Yeah, had a great camp.
You know, he don't. To me, he don't look drained.
Nah.
He looked like he walked this way into his weight class exactly how he should have. Now, my question to you, Mr. Bernard, I always ask the coaching side, how impressed and how do you feel about your son putting in the work and being a constant professional like he's doing, man, as a coach?
As a coach, I'm proud of him because it says that the lessons are sinking in to the point where he's gaining knowledge and not just passing a test. See, it's a difference, you know. You can study all week and you can pass the test, but you didn't gain knowledge, because if I ask you a week from now about what last week was, you don't remember. But seeing how he's starting to not just pass the test but retain knowledge, because I can ask him next week what the test was from 2 weeks ago. So this was I guess the culmination of seeing if you can actually put the knowledge to work. And he's been in camp. I've heard nothing but great things about him at his camp. I haven't been out here except for when I came to check on him, and he's been doing what he's supposed to do, you know. So that tells me that he's not a pro anymore, he's becoming a professional.
Now I always ask, out of all the clips I have seen with you overlooking your son when he's sparring in the ring, and I noticed how you correct things and give him instructions in there on the do's and the don'ts. Where do that knowledge come from of you being able to give your son that the knowledge and the input that he deserves?
I think it came from understanding and knowing from an early point where I was when it comes to the sport. And I knew at an early stage that at some point I wanted to coach. I wanted to see how I could do on the other side. And when I knew that and the opportunities came, I took advantage of them. And being able to work with very good coaches over the years, if you go back and look, Calvin has been in my son's corner in the amateurs at the Silver Gloves. People didn't know that. Me and Calvin and Kenny talk quite often. The late, great Gary Russell Sr., I was with him for years. Learned a lot
Never
from
knew
him.
that.
Yeah,
Never knew that.
Learned a lot from him. You know, God rest his soul. But when you first know that you want to be a coach, that's step one. But I call there's also a 1A. When you know you want to be a coach, you got to know who you want to learn from. So I started picking people who I respected in the game as coaches, as men, and said, okay, this is how I want to learn and apply. And there are some people who I have respect for as men who I just don't think are good coaches, so I didn't take that from them. So, you know, for me it was, first I had to take myself to school before I could teach.
Awesome. My next question to you is, when you see your son in there making the adjustments that he's supposed to be making in sparring and in fighting, at the end of the day, what satisfaction that give you as a coach and as a dad?
It tells me I'm not fighting for him anymore. He's starting to fight for himself. Like I've told you when we talked before, in the beginning, I was the leader and he fought. And then I went from that to being the controller and he was the robot. Now we're becoming a team where I tell him what I see from the coach's view looking from the outside, and then he'll come back in between rounds and tell me what he sees from the fighter view from the inside. And then we put the pieces together and make a fit, and the puzzle, forms itself.
Now, I always wanted to know, when you reach a certain level, and I see a lot of the father and son tandems and duos in the sport, where do you stand at from a boxing historian standpoint on where your son growth then came over the years, and by you knowing a lot of fighters that came before him, where do you see him finding his niche into the sport?
Physically, I think for me, I can see him being up as high as 168. I think after that, it's circumstances of boxing that say where he go. If we look back at Roy Jones Jr., he was at 68. The circumstances of boxing said, let's go further. And he was able to go all the way through to a heavyweight title. I don't think if you put Roy in a situation where the Furies and the guys are 6'7", 260s, I don't think he would have tried that, because I give up too much. So it's the situation of the sport that actually would tell where he can go. As far as him right now, physically, if you look at him, he has the skeletal position to be up at 68. So that's why I say 68. But things could change. If you remember when he was sparring Tank years ago, he was small. I was in there. We was like, oh man, he might be a good 35. But then genetics and life took over, and now he's blossomed into a full-blown welterweight with the ability to go further. So I didn't come in with any preconceived notions. I came in and said, I'm going to prepare him the best I can to be the best he can, and let everything else do what it do. So when you have no control over something, you don't let it worry you. I think some people worry themselves into an early grave because they're worried about something they have no control over. Awesome. So I only worry about what I can control. Everything else, I let it do what it do.
Now, man, hey, man, the people out there watching, man, we love doing these interviews with Mr. Bernard, because you see the wisdom that he brings to the table. He's not biased in his rebuttals, and he giving y'all facts. So for a lot of y'all out there don't know the game, he giving you game right now. So pay attention to what he's giving, because it's from the heart. It's nothing personal. Now, my next one I wanted to run at, you kind of touch base on it a little bit, being as though you said genetic-wise that your son could possibly move up to different weight classes, situation-wise. So that word situational plays a big part, because what I'm getting that you're saying, the situation has to be right for him to move the way he should move. So who really makes that decision at the end of the day? Him or his trainer / dad?
None of the above. I think you leave that in the only person who can say what your genetics are. God said what your genetics are. No matter how bad you want to be a center, if he gave you a quarterback's body, you have to play quarterback if you want to play football, period. If he genetically grows and, hey, we got to do this, then we'll do that. Now, there are situations where he may tell me, it could be a situation where he say, hey, Dad, I'm a welterweight champion, but there's an amazing fight at 154. I don't want to be there full time, but I don't want to pass this fight up, and they'll do it. And okay, we step up there for that. He likes challenges. And so if he says something like that, then I'm saying, hey, you are the person that has to live with this ship. It's my job to make sure you're prepared. It's your job to take on every task that comes in front of you. So that's a situation like that where we would sit down and discuss, does it make sense? And if to him it makes sense but it don't make sense to me, then at that point it's my job to make sure he's ready for that fight.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm about to spin the table on you a little bit. You know we're not going to let you go without me spinning the table, seeing where your mind at. I'm going to give you my two scenarios before we wrap this up.
I hear Mr. Bernard Tank versus Ron Garcia breakdown.
You want to do?
Huh? I already did my part.
Okay.
Be on television.
All right.
Mr. Alexis, you got anything you want to say? I just said
make this up. Thank you out there, by the way. That last fight, Plant and Benavidez.
See what I'm saying? He talking about
What
that's
went
I'm doing.
wrong in that fight for Caleb Plant?
Nothing. Bigger, stronger man, skilled guy, but didn't have what it took physically to be able to beat him. I think Caleb Plant did a great job. He showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of skill and ability, but like we just talked about Roy Jones, things lined up perfectly. He was able to do it. You just can't go when you can make everything even out. We talked about this about 4 years ago. Everything even, truck runs over a Corvette every single time. And that's just what that was. Benavidez was just too big, too strong.
So, was this one of those situational things?
Yeah, definitely.
Just I wanted to really understand
Situation.
the severity of that statement.
Yeah.
So we gonna classify that as one of those situational things.
Correct. And that's why I said it. And I'm glad you said that. We had a talk. It's been a while ago. I don't know if you remember when I said I never told nobody that Jalil would finish his career undefeated. I said he would compete at his best.
You said
because some situations you can lose. People don't want to look at that aspect. There are situations, but it's situations where you can't turn them down.
Yeah.
So do you turn it down because you could lose, but you could have changed? You know, great scenario. I always use my son so nobody get offended. Jalil, let's say he's 10-0, 12-0, and they say, hey, they want you to fight Earl Spence. And at the time, we know you're good and you can get there, but you ain't quite ready for that. But they saying, we give you $7 million. If you look at me and be like, that is $7 million. That's one loss, but if I can get past 6 rounds, they're going to respect me. And what if I go the distance and lose? What if I win? We got to take that. You can't turn that away because that bell may never ring again. But what if you win? See, that's the thing. What if you win?
Puncher's chance.
And you got to look at your attributes. Once again, situation. The one thing I know above any situation, my son can punch. So no matter who it is, he has what you said, a puncher's chance. So do I take that from him because we're trying to protect the O? Or do I say, are we making history? Tell me on the list of great fighters, it might be one who's undefeated. Floyd may be the only one on every single person's top 5 who's undefeated.
True.
The rest of them have losses.
Yeah.
So if that is real, then a loss don't define you. It's what you do after you lose that defines you.
Hey, Mr. Bernard, how can I get that message to Bud Crawford? Because he don't understand that concept because he's running from Earl.
I mean, I say this. When you look at those two and you look at the fight and you look if it does happen or doesn't happen, I don't think that any fighter at this level of the top of the game, at the top of the game, fears another man. I don't think it's possible. But what I will say is you have to look and find out what your value system is. If Terrence is saying, I got $6 million. Terrence got $6 million. And he's made that. He got it in the bank. And he lives $100,000 a year lifestyle. He says the odds of me going broke is slim and none. So do I have to take it? No, I don't. I'll take it if I want to. Earl, flip it around. He's $6 million. He spends $100,000 a year. The likelihood of me going broke is slim and none. Both men can say, I don't want to give you no concessions. I don't want to accept no concessions from you. Okay, let's agree to disagree and walk on the way. They are in the position to do that. Once again, with this sport, you have to live with the outcome of your career. Nobody else has to.
Yeah.
My son was offered a fight, and I was like, hey, maybe we should think about it. And my son asked me one question. It was so funny. He said, "You my coach, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What's your job?" "To get you ready to fight." He said, "If I get knocked out, does it hurt you? Will you have a headache?" I said, "Nah." He said, "Well, what are you talking about?" And right then I was like, he's right. I'm paid to coach him. That's what he tells, that you're my coach. If I get to the position and God blesses me to be like a Javante Davis, I can call my own shot. If you don't like the shot, tell me you don't like the shot and say I back you, but I can't be in this corner, and let me get somebody else. But if you say I'm backing you, your job is just to back me. Your job ain't to do that. You gave me your opinion. I heard your opinion, but I'm still going to do it. At that point, I don't need your opinion no more. I need your expertise.
And we ready to wrap this interview up, but I cannot wrap this interview up until we talk about this mega pay-per-view fight on April 22nd here in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Javante Tank Davis versus, I call him, Lion Crime Ryan Garcia. Give me the tail of the tape. You got a round or...
Yeah, like
give me the tail of the tape.
I think we'll see a 7th or 8th round stoppage. 7th or 8th round stoppage. I think Tank stops him in 7 or 8. But I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way to Ryan. I think Ryan is going to come more prepared than he's ever prepared for any fight in his entire life. Because this, he even knows, is a coronation. They're coronating a new king. Tank is about to step into the throne room and take the throne. Ryan is the last ditch effort to stop the coronation from happening. Now, do you think Ryan is going to come unprepared for the coronation? He's going to bring his best.
That's the only one I got.
I can honestly tell you, I think, in my opinion, Ryan might come out and could possibly win the first 3 rounds. But after the first 3 rounds, what if I told you in a 12-round fight, after the first 3 rounds, all men are equal? It's whatever that one intangible thing you have is. Tank's intangible is he can unleash a tsunami in one shot. That's his intangible. Ryan's intangible is he has a hook. Tank has said it. But has his hook at any point in time been more detrimental than that tsunami that Tank throws?
No.
So, once again, when we put apples to apples, that's that Corvette versus that dump truck. The dump truck wins. Only occasionally do you see the Corvette come out and it's not totally destroyed. But each time the Corvette loses, the Corvette can't win because it's just too much of the dump truck. Ryan, I think when I've seen him, he has nice speed, but to me,
have you ever seen him live,
down.
like in person?
No, I've seen him on TV.
Hey, Mr. Brown, can I ask you a question? Because I struggle with this right now. Who faster, Tank or Ryan?
Don't matter.
No.
I mean, I got what you're saying, but in order for that to make a difference, it has to be something that the other person hasn't seen. We've seen Ryan fight guys that seem to have quicker hands than him, but he's been able to come out on top. We've seen Tank fight guys that have faster hands than him, but he's been able to come out on top. When you mention, like, man, who's the fastest between them? Will that be the key to the fight? Nobody believes that'll be the key. So that's one of the things I'm not going to keep.
You know, I keep hearing Ryan fast. That's why a lot of people saying Ryan going to win, he fast. And I'm like, I'm not sold that he's faster.
But once again, when you look at Ryan, is his style conducive to I have to be faster? Is Tank's style conducive to I have to? If you're saying Ryan's style is conducive to he has to be faster, then he's going to fight in such a way where I'm faster, everything he does. But if you're saying Tank's, it's not a requirement for him to be faster to get the win, Tank settles down more. I've seen Tank throw 3, 4, 5 punch combinations. But I've also seen Tank slip 2 or 3. I've seen Tank intentionally get hit with some shit, not with a heavy shot, but that jab, because I know where you are now. You seen him touched on the shoulder with a jab, and he's firing some shit, because I wanted you to touch my shoulder.
That didn't say about that this morning.
Yeah, that didn't say he was slow. It said, I want you to be here because now his IQ is taking over. if he touches me here, I know where one of his hands are. And I'm gonna fire this joint. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Bernard. Hey, Mr. Bernard. Hey, check this out. I can't make this up. Mr. Bernard.
Hey, he just told that conversation from this morning.
Yeah,
he
was a
just
fly on the wall. I mean, that's what I get when you talk to the greats. You learn from the sport. But man, hey, anything else you got for Mr. Bernard? We cannot follow that act right there, man. We gonna wrap this up, man. You already know who it is. It's your boy Coach Squeeze, aka the Smoothie King. Right back at you.
Can I say one more thing? I interrupt you. I apologize, bro. I love to hear that ending when you give it. It was something never said. We've been watching on social media. I think Linda touched on it a couple of times. Linda Ellery familiar with promotion. If Tank win this fight and he's the fighter of the year, how does Calvin not be coach of the year? That doesn't kind of make sense.
We just had that convo with Leonard.
When you telling me that another coach won coach of the year because he coached 5 guys, but none of those 5 guys fought a fight of the magnitude of this, so how can you say that the man didn't win coach of the year? Because guess what? I tell you this, if for some amazing feat Ryan win, they're going to be trying to give Dan Goosen coach of the year. Not because he coached 5 guys, but because he beat that one guy. So why does it not flip the other way when that happens? We got to learn to appreciate greatness while it's happening, not when it's over. Every year, Michael Jordan should have been player of the year in the NBA that he played in his heyday with the Bulls. But because we got so comfortable with seeing greatness, we kind of didn't appreciate it the way we should.
Gotcha.
If Tank go in there and do what he's expected to do, and the coronation happens of a new king, then there should be no question about who coach of the year is. And if you got to have more than one or any conversation, Kenny and Calvin supposed to have that thing together. That's supposed to be sold up like Levi's. That's what we sold up like Levi's. We should not be having no, because if Ryan wins, everybody says he's fighter of the year and Dan Goosen coached the masterful fight, right? But he only did it with one. So why does it not apply in reverse if Calvin and Kenny do it against them? I just wanted to get that out. My fault, brother. I apologize.
My mic got smoke coming from it.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out.
I can't make this stuff up. It's the Smoothie King, right back at you again with another one. Thanks, Mr. Bernard.
Anytime.
Appreciate you. Peace.
One thing about Mr. Bernard, we gonna get some
We
jewels
gonna
every time.
I be hitting them up.